Right. All right. Hi, everybody. For joining us or watching us. We're Vida VidaCon. I'm Janessa. Hi. I'm Michelle.
Hi, Jess.
We've got a conference coming up, our third one, next May in Austin, Texas, the 29th to the 31st. And we're meeting with our speakers to have a little hangout with them. So today we've got the amazing Queen of Vegan Desserts, Fran Costigan. Thank you for joining us, Fran.
Morning, Fran.
My pleasure. I'm so happy to see you all and all of you who might be out there. I love Vida, Vegan Con, and you ladies really did something that needed to happen. I can't imagine how you pulled it together, but it's certainly popular and it's certainly changed my life.
Oh, Fran, all right, that's all we need. That's perfect.
Okay, let's just go eat some chocolate.
Well, Fran, let's start off. What's new with the Queen of Vegan Desserts? What are you doing? How is New York Veg Fest? All your plans for your touring? Tell us everything.
You really want to know everything. There is so much going on. I can hardly believe it. I mean, to think that at this stage in my life, as busy as I am and just getting busier and busier is awesome. And with this great work, I'm like, okay, someone's got to do it. So I have, let me just turn off my answering machine.
Okay.
Guess what? I don't even know how to turn it off, and nobody ever uses it except a bill collector or something like that. But after 9/11, I lived really, really close to the towers, and I thought that I needed to have like a landline phone, because we were all going. This is not the question at all. Oh, I think it was my son in LA, because I see it here too. But anyway, we were all like trying to use our cell phones. We had no cell phones. But let's go back to that question you asked me.
Yeah, tell us what's new.
What's new? What's new is new classes, and I'm always looking to teach new classes. There's so much happening in the ever expanding vegan world. I'm going to be in Northern California at the end of this month. I'm actually doing some events at Google. YouTube headquarters in San Bruno, which puts me near Miyoko Schinner, my dear friend and colleague, and I'll be eating cheese. And then we're doing, she stayed with me in New York. I have a little teeny apartment. She's got a nice big house, but we are crazy about each other. And she's coming to Vida with her cheese, right?
Yeah. And we met
Oh my gosh. And then we're going to be so Google is a Thursday, and they're really excited about vegan choices. So I'm very happy about that. We're going to go to do a San Francisco vegan meetup on Friday and Saturday. I just want to tell everybody, Saturday, May 2nd. I don't know if I'm officially allowed to say, but I think I am.
Oh, go for it.
It's going to be a very special event on Saturday afternoon, May 2nd. So you can find it on my Facebook page, probably this afternoon, and on the Veg News Facebook page and in Veg News Online. But Miyoko and I are going to be doing cooking demos and having a party at the Veg News offices, which are about to reopen. I just can't believe my luck with timing. But what happens is when I'm invited someplace, and as long as there's a room in the calendar that I haven't committed to a class in New York, it's hard for me to say no. And because this community is amazing. It's really amazing. So then I try to put things around it. But this time, that just happened. And what could be nicer than that? And then I'm going to go to LA the following day, and then my kids are there, and my granddaughters, the Costigals, and then I'm doing something at Google LA in Venice Beach, which I understand is a Frank Gehry building and looks like binoculars, but they are so keen on, again, vegan, specifically vegan, sustainable, and so on. And then, then I'm going to this Austin, Texas place.
This little to-do.
I'm going to bow down in front of the mothership for sure, Whole Foods. I know there is some controversy for some people, but I think overall it's a good thing. And I may be doing an event there too. And then let's see, in the summer, I'm going to Berlin before I go to Italy on the trip, which I'd like to talk about. My son's doing a movie in Berlin, and my book, Vegan Chocolate, has been translated. There's a German edition and a French edition. So I can go stay at their house, hang out a little while, and visit Vegans, you know, that supermarket that's all vegan. Berlin is really vegan. Berlin is really vegan. So that's cool. And, you know, and then Italy, the trip to Italy comes around. And my co-host for my week, which is July 25th to August 1st, this is Vegano Italiano, is Benet Vinrab. You know Benet? She's, if you've eaten at Candle 79, no, Benet. She's the general manager and catering director and a friend, and she's much more athletic than I am. So she's going to teach a special recipe that's real popular and has some Italian, you know, roots from the Candle 79's menu, and then she's going to lead hikes. So that's all just so cool. I'm exhausted now. I have a lot of packing to do. But I mean, this is vegan in today's world.
Let me ask you, Fran, with, you know, the evolution and popularity in veganism and what you've seen happen to the world of vegan desserts, what are some of the biggest things that you've noticed and that you'd like to reflect on with us?
Well, the things that I have noticed, if you consider that I was working as a traditional pastry chef in a sugar butter cream kitchen, pastry kitchen, like 22 years ago, and I didn't know any vegans. I didn't. That doesn't mean there were, but it just wasn't, it wasn't so much in the vernacular. And I wasn't feeling well. Some of you know this story, but, you know, I had stomach aches all the time, and I left, and I loved the work. I loved desserts, but they weren't agreeing with me. But it wasn't necessarily the dessert. So I picked up a book called Food and Healing by Anne-Marie Colbin. And Dr. Colbin was really ahead of her time talking about whole foods. Sadly, she passed last week. I don't know if you're aware of that, but she died last week. Her legacy will certainly live on. So I picked up the book when I was in the desert in California, and I just decided to change my diet. I thought that I would give up. I was like, no, maybe I am lactose intolerant because my mother gave me ice cream for breakfast. And, you know, I'm sure my mom was told by the doctor then, you better get milk into that kid. So whether that's why I like pastries or not, because I grew up on chocolate ice cream for breakfast, I don't know. But long story short, I changed so I said, okay, I'll stop drinking milk. Well, I never drank milk. I couldn't stomach the smell of it even. But I gave up all animal foods without really thinking about it. And I felt great. You know, you hear this story from a lot of people. I never was a low energy person, but my energy kind of. And then to answer specifically the question you're saying, what was available in the marketplace was gross, was very limited. And, you know, the brown cakes that they said, oh, here, Fran, try this chocolate cake. It was brown, it was dry, and it was a carob cake, not a chocolate cake. So I have nothing against carob, but tofu and tempeh are not the same thing. You know, it's like apples and oranges are not the same thing. So that's what happened. Today, you contrast that, and the books were ridiculous. There were no recipes. Today, if you consider a recipe that says use 1 cup of maple syrup or 1 cup of rice syrup or 1 cup of barley malt or a cup of maple sugar, it's not going to work. So today, the difference is I go anywhere, and I mean anywhere, and there is virtually always vegan food items and vegan desserts. You know, they're not, and it's just become, you know, as Victoria Moran says, vegan has crossed the street. It's Main Street now. And so, you know, the immediate thing that I'm seeing right now, and I'm sure that you're aware of it, is every time I go out of my apartment now, someone says, have you tried the chickpea meringue yet? So then, I just know. No, I actually haven't, but I'm sure it works. I made meringue a couple of years ago using, like boiling flax and straining it and getting the glop. I'm sure it works, and I think that's great because that opens up a whole new, like a holy grail that we haven't been able to do. Meringues, pavlova. I'm seeing a floating island in my vanilla pastry cream, and it's all just happens to be vegan. It's essentially chickpea liquid or a white bean liquid and sugar. So I never said that desserts are healthy. You get your healthy eating green, which I do, but I don't love the idea of a bean and all that sugar, but I like the idea of doing it. So that's what's the newest thing is that we're seeing, we're just seeing these gorgeous, not fake vegan desserts, but desserts that happen to be vegan and that everyone, that just opens. Okay, ethical vegans, people who are lactose intolerant, which we know is everybody, people who are allergic to eggs, people who are keeping kosher homes, these desserts are parve. During Lent, people who want to be more eco-conscious, so many more people are aware of what happens with the animals now. So, if you can have a dessert that tastes great and doesn't have cholesterol, why not? And it happens to be called vegan.
So touching on that a little bit, Fran, in 2013, you were part of a panel of vegan professionals in a non-vegan world. How has that landscape changed for you in the last few years as veganism has been taking off and there are more and more people and Google is inviting you to you're vegan. So how has that changed?
Well, it has changed because I feel that I was occasionally the token vegan, let's say, in a place, or I would go to, I made a choice or a conscious decision a number of years ago, quite a long time ago, that I was not going to, that I was definitely vegan. I mean, once I made that change that I told you about, there was no looking back. I did it for health reasons, but then you learn, and how do you get that out of your head? You can't. You just can't. So, but I felt that if I stayed only within the vegan community, I was leaving a lot of people out there who might not understand about vegan. So I don't want to be overly dramatic about it, but I went to I joined organizations that were traditional, that really shunned vegans, either by saying so, or that feeling when you say at a luncheon, that salad looks great, can I have the same thing without the bacon? And they bring you brown lettuce instead, or, oh, you're vegan, here's the fish dish, kind of thing. But now I am asked to talk with other professionals about why vegan, and it's just astonishing to me. It's just astonishing. The opportunities are there. And so I'm staying, in the organizations like New York Women's Culinary Alliance, International Association of Culinary Professionals, Culinary Historians of New York, going to places where it might be a little bit uncomfortable because, that feeling of if somebody knows you espouse a certain thing and their livelihood is something else, there's a concern that you're making them wrong. I might run into the occasional, do you think you're a better person than I am? No, I don't. Thinking, yeah, well, in some way, maybe I'm more compassionate. I don't do that. I don't judge people. And I think that's the key. But people, organizations, individuals, professionals are coming to people like me, to Miyoko, to Tal Ronan, to Stephanie, and asking business questions now, because we are in a time when vegan is really hot. It's hot. Professionals understand that if they don't understand the vegan or they leave the vegan out of the conversation, or in the case of restaurants, they don't have an option that's satisfying, they're leaving money on the table. So that's how it's changed. It's grown exponentially. Do you find that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, it's because of, people like you and other people doing that outreach, and not bringing judgment to the table, just being open and reaching non-vegans in a really comfortable, accessible way. I mean, every class you teach, every demo you do, I think that's why people are so drawn to you. You make everything so accessible. You bring it down to them, and it's just so much easier. And I mean, with your class demoing the demo, it sort of shows that we've got a big batch of vegans out there who want to be able to do that outreach as effectively as possible. So, I mean, I can't think of anybody better to do the class than you.
But frankly, Fran, I think you just wound up.
Well, thank you. I think, periodically, not lately, I'm comfortable with this now, but, up until a year or so ago, occasionally I would think, there are so many causes that are so important, and there are, of course, and I'd go like, what am I doing? I'm making chocolate cake, I'm making cake. But this is such a great form of vegan activism. It really is. Because when people, one reason is people feel that, well, I just can't live without. Well, you don't have to today. And so I think that everyone should get out there and do a class. You don't have to be a culinary school graduate to do a cooking class, and you don't even really have to know a lot about the kitchen. Somebody wrote to me recently and said, I really want to, I hear you about this is a form of activism, teaching people, but I'm not a very good cook, and I'm not a baker and whatever. And I said, you can learn to make a soup and a salad. I bet you already do know how. And that's all you need to know, and reach everybody where they are. And it's not a fake thing. It's not hard for me. I mean, I like people. Occasionally you get the vegan hater, let's say. But the questions I get are, well, you eat, you do desserts, but you're not giant. And then you can riff on so many things in a vegan dessert class. You can talk about the animals. You can talk about the ethics, that there is still slavery in the production of chocolate and cocoa, which is really big. You can talk about not using fake junk. Just when I became vegan, there was no non-hydrogenated margarine. There was no commercial egg replacer. So I learned to do without that, and I use, I think quality ingredients really matter, and following traditional technique really matters. And then, then I talk about the kale or the greens, or that this chocolate is a bean, but it's not a salad, it's not is raw cacao is that healthier than cocoa powder? And I say, well, people say it is, but I'm not looking for my healthy from chocolate. I'm looking for my beans and greens and grains. So, you can start all these really wonderful conversations. And I want to remind everyone that it might seem in the moment, you never know where people are or where they're going. So it might seem in the moment that you didn't make a positive association for them. But then a little later on, you get a call or you get an email. Something happens where people get it, and then it feels so good. It's such a win-win.
Yeah, you don't know if you're painting the first layer or the very last layer.
Yeah. So there you go about that. I made a big birthday cake this week. I don't do a lot of private cakes anymore because I'm not around so much. But I've been making this she just turned 29, this young woman's birthday cake since she was a kid. I never met her, but I was at an event, a non-vegan event, a very unlikely event for a vegan to go to. And I saw someone carrying a particular kind of beverage that said to me, this person really cares about health and it's probably vegan. She started talking to me. She said, you have to come and see my friends, meet my friends. And told them, I said, oh yeah, Angelica Kitchen. I was a pastry chef there. And this beautiful young girl said, do you know Fran Costigan? I said, I am Fran Costigan. So I've been making her cake and I never met her. And she can have, pretty much whatever she wants. But she said, I feel so comfortable serving a vegan cake in this crowd of people because the cakes are so good. And I think vegan tastes better. I think it does.
Well, let me ask you, Fran, to go back to, Michelle was talking about, you're demoing the demo class, which is coming back for 2015 by popular demand. So going into BBC 3 next month, we have you at our opening day, Vegan Bazaar, doing a decadent dessert demo. And I know we've been talking about what exactly that's going to be. And then on Saturday, we're doing the demo class again. Can you tell us what you have, what you have prepared so far for each of these going into the third conference?
Yes, I would be happy to. I'm still evolving because certainly I have classes that I teach. And as I say in my demoing the demo class, that's a really cool name you came up with. I like it. That even if it's a class like Vegan Baking Boot Camp is a good example. That's my one class that is a 5-day series, the certificate course. And I have taught that for years and years, but it's really important. Every group is a little different. Every circumstance is different. I like to, after I've given a class, sometimes I'm tired afterwards from just being so up or whatever, but I sit down and I think this worked, this didn't work, this could be better, this could be different. So that I have notes, and then my challenge is making sure I put those notes where I'll find them. And then who was the group? People say, this has nothing to do with the demo, but figure out your elevator speech. You need to be able to pitch people or what it is about you, what's vegan, what do you do, what can you do for them? In one sentence, well, who are you talking to? So I assume at Vida, vegan, that the attendees will be vegan literate, but then again, who knows? Because I'm finding New York Veg Fest, I went to the Arizona Veg Food Fest this year, wherever you go, and all of our events are busy. They're not just people who really, truly do understand vegan. So I'm going to create this demoing the demo for people who are experienced, to already do their demos, for people who have, maybe like that woman that I referenced earlier, who says, I really want to do this, but I'm not really a cook. And in all kinds of venues, it could be a library or your own home, culinary school, and don't necessarily expect to have what you think you're going to need. So I'm going to share about my traveling teaching suitcase, which is very big. And, little tips and tricks. And I would like people to ask questions and give me some, we'll do some real world kind of inquiry into the doing it, how to start, how to hone it, and so on. Because today, everybody that I can think of, every organization I can think of is looking for people who speak vegan. I get calls from experienced culinary instructors who have decided to do a vegan class, but they don't do their homework. They don't know what it means. Got to do your homework. And in terms of the exciting demo on Friday at the bazaar, well, I'm working on it.
Happening with how we are doing this one-day Vegan Bazaar this year. Are you caught up in what we're doing? I'm telling Janessa she's the best at explaining it.
So traditionally in the past, we've had Vida Vegan span 3 days. This year, we're doing it the same. All the classes are on Saturday and Sunday, and then all of the exhibitors are on Friday. So this is a standalone event. So this way, you can have so much more time for direct contact with all of our attendees, and we're opening it up to the public. So it's really just one big bazaar for all of our attendees, all of their guests, all of Austin public to come meet the exhibitors, meet the vendors, see the food trucks, see your class, go to other parenting panels. So it really is a big, fun vegan bazaar. So that's what's a little different. It's kind of like a little taste of the conference with all the exhibitors.
Oh, I think that sounds wonderful. Really wonderful. It makes sense because, you know, there are so many choices in the 2 days that follow, but to be able to have more direct contact and to be able to open it up to more people is really great. So once I know how, you know, my process would be, okay, this is how long I have, and then I will fit a recipe or two to the time, and certainly going to. I mean, I think a taste is worth a lot. So I would certainly provide, you know, I can't help it. Just taste it.
We'll touch base more on the logistics of all that.
Taste it. You know, yeah. And then, you know, once my team finalizes with me what equipment will be there or won't be there, then I'll select a recipe. But, you know, that's really the fun of it too. If you have to draw, you know, I can show things with my hands and you do these swap outs, but remember the very first Vida demo in Whole Foods, and I assumed it was a teaching kitchen, so I assumed there would be a whisk.
You silly person.
And there wasn't a whisk, so I said, well, you sell them in the store, I think, or no, or whatever. Would you go to the bakery department? And the whisk was like bigger than I was. Somebody took a photo. That is one of my favorite photos of me. I still have it. Of this giant,
the things we learn, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, from there, I thought, yeah, this is why I carry my own. You know, if I need something that I really like, I like little teeny whisk. I like really little measuring cup, 4-table measuring cup. Because yes, I do use fat in my desserts. I'm not all of them, but I use this enough to make things taste good. And then visually people can see, you know, that's not a lot, but if you don't, that's okay. We can talk about that too. You know, things that I like, I bring with me just in case. I mean, I don't carry it around. JL is now on the road with her, you know. I saw her at the New York Veg Food Fest with her pressure cooker, and I saw Tess Masters, the Blender Girl, recently at the traditional conference. We created, Tess, Jill Nussenow, Chad Sarno, and I created a hashtag at that culinary conference called Feed the Hungry Vegan. There was nothing for us to eat, so we took a trip to see things. We found places. You know, we found places, but it's okay. But I was like, oh, they have really big stuff to lug around heavy. I just have a lot. So I'm looking forward to the bazaar. I'm going to come to Austin the day before because I don't like to get someplace be really tight.
We have the meet and greet as well on Thursday night. So all of our attendees will be
yay. Great.
Great.
You know who I'm rooming with? Terry Romero.
That's a fun room. 2 New York ladies.
2 New Yorkers in one room. Yeah. So, that's great. That's great.
So what are you looking forward to in Austin?
Well, I'm looking forward to it not being winter because we've had 3 winters in New York City. You know, I've heard so much about Austin being very cool and very vegan forward, very plant forward. I'm hoping to connect with our friend Rip Esselstyn, the vegan behind Engine 2. You know, I made his wedding cakes.
Oh, wow.
This also speaks to the fact, because you know, Rip and his father, Dr. Esselstyn, Essie, who has written Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease, and his wife and sister, Dr. Esselstyn's wife and daughter, wrote the Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease cookbook. they are really learned people. You know, they're featured in Forks Over Knives, and they promote a whole foods plant-based diet, which is vegan, no oil, but it's a way for people who have heart disease. It really, I mean, like Bill Clinton reversed his heart disease following this diet. But my point, you know, what I used to think was, yeah, but everybody has a birthday. What are we going to do on Thanksgiving? What if you get married? And here it was, you know, Rip called me up and he said, I need wedding cake. I want that chocolate cake. And that was on the cover of my previous book. So every table at his wedding, every table had a chocolate torte. And then he and Jill cut a cake. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. I want to go and see Whole Foods. And I really want to visit with you wonderful people. You know, the vegan community everywhere is just filled with wonderful people. We have I think you would agree, some different ideas maybe about the kinds of food we eat or the kinds of activism. We can agree to disagree, I think, on some things. But the main thing is, you know, that we don't eat anything that had a mother or has a base, and why. But I find, you know, going wherever I go. For example, I went to the Arizona Veg Food Fest. It was the first year this year, and it's created by the team that does the US Veg Corps that does the New York Veg Food Fest. And I'm not great on driving anymore. It's been a long time since, I mean, I can, but somebody wrote to me on Facebook, this lovely couple, vegan couple, who live near where I was going to be, and said, do you need anything? Can we drive you around? Can we get you anything? And that's what always happens. And then don't you think our events are just a big love fest?
Oh, I love seeing the connections that everyone makes. Like you're saying, there's so many people who only see each other at the Veg Fest. And do that.
Yeah, it's like a big love fest. Love fest. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're so excited to have you come to Austin. So excited to have you at Vida VeganCon for the third year in a row. Your presence is going to be fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us today. Do you have any other questions for us or anything else you'd like to say or share?
I mean, it was my pleasure to join you today, and I'm honored that you invited me back. I'm really thrilled. Looking forward to participating, and I'm always open to throw something else at me. I'll be happy to do it. It's a great vegan world, and you're doing such a great service to the community with this conference. You know, when you invited me the first year, I was really excited, but I thought, oh, I'm not a blogger. And it was called the Vida Vegan Bloggers Conference. I'm not a blogger, although I wanted to be, but I'm tech challenged, I guess. And a little time, well, I blog now. And I found an assistant, you know, without Megan Eaton, I don't think vegan chocolate would have been able to have been, I was having so much trouble. I don't do Excel spreadsheets very well and things like that. Can make up a recipe in my head, but that other stuff, So I met Megan and at Vida, and there she was, and Diane Wenz, you know, Chic Vegan and Veggie Girl helps me format the blog and get the newsletter out. And the community has been very, you know, the community is very helpful. People don't say, that's mine, you can't know. So I learned real nuts and bolts at Vida Vegan, at both of the Vida Vegan cons, because I certainly have to prepare for what I'm doing, but I go to as many sessions as I can because there are geniuses presenting. We're really,
yeah, there's so much in this one that we haven't done before.
Yeah. I mean, I would encourage anybody who hasn't booked a ticket yet. This is really a life-changing conference. You get it all. You get you do. You get the food knowledge. You know, you get the why, vegan on every level. You get real skills, how to do things. And everyone is so accessible. And then the food isn't bad that we get to eat, to put it mildly. You know, it's just from the meet and greet on, everybody, you know, you just walk over to, oh yeah, I wanted to meet that person. You just walk over and say hi. And the connections that you make at your event that I made at your event, I mean, I get out and around, but I met so many vegans that I didn't know about, you know, so many bloggers I didn't know who've been so helpful to me. If I needed something, you know, I called and I had a consult with people, and it just was like, instead of going, oh my gosh, no, it's really, really, you get great skills in a really fun, delicious atmosphere. And I'm excited about going to Austin. I mean, I love Portland very much, but I've been there now a couple of times, and I'm, you know, Austin is, you know, who helped me at the first Vida, come to think of it, at that cooking demo where there was no whisk and other things, was our beautiful woman who went on to start Capital City Bakery.
Oh, yeah, Kristen.
Yeah, Kristen. And she was like, you need help? I was like, yes! And so did Julie Hassan's daughter helped me too. But she was, you know, just had this idea in her head about, and look what happened with that bakery. So that's definitely on my list of get there.
You've got a lot of fun stuff in store.
Yeah, Capital City Bakery is definitely incredible.
Get ready for some surprises from them. This
Yeah.
weekend.
Oh, cool. Oh, that's great. So, you know, kudos to you. Kudos to you.
Oh, Fran. Well, thank you so much for
Oh, see, we're starting the love fest now, but that's just the way it is.
I'm going to call you on after your talk. So we're going to have to transcribe this one.
Thank you so much. We love having you involved.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Have a beautiful day.
You too.
And I'll see you soon.
See you next month.
See you soon. Bye.